1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, get ready to spend the next 2 hours with our three sports-loving ladies. Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
This is Helmets and Heels
on 1010XL.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
How sweet it is to be here live at JU. Beach volleyball going on as JU's taking on Central Arkansas. But of course, how sweet it is has to do with men's basketball.
I would say it's a pretty elite day, Lauren. Not just a sweet day, it's an elite day.
It is an elite day. I'm so glad you brought that word up because the Florida men's basketball team is elite, headed to the Elite Eight. Only bad thing is we're missing the elite Taylor Dahl today. She's on vacation today and on Monday, but we're going to break all things hoops down.
Yes. I wanted to get your take because I saw the email. First off, I saw two emails from the University of Florida that have been sent out en masse.
Yes, the shell-shocked.
Shell-shocked. I wanted your take on shell-shocked. Do you appreciate the pun at the expense of the Maryland Terrapins?
Because it's an email that went to Florida Gators people, then yes.
Okay.
It wasn't that like they tweeted out to try to rub it in Maryland's face. It only went to people like me who've purchased tickets through Florida. So I'm okay with it.
Secondly,
also Terrapins, we might should explain are turtles.
Yes, turtles. I like turtles. We maybe needed that sound effect. Sorry to Scott Van Pelt. Secondly, about an hour ago, I think, I just got another email from the official Florida Gators account that they are accepting deposits for season tickets for men's basketball for the 2025 to 2026 campaign.
Jump on those. I got the email about Florida football a couple weeks ago, and they've certainly been promoting the football alongside the football season tickets, alongside this men's basketball run.
That, my friends, is what we call good marketing.
It is good marketing. Quick football note, I saw Billy Napier hit a home run. The Gators Twitter put it out. It was in the softball park, though. They didn't mention that the home run was in the softball park, but I'm just going to let it go. Billy Napier still hit a home run. He was excited about it. All right, so let's get it to the hoops that occurred last night. RJ Saunders has been in the lab working so hard. RJ hit it.
Knox will pick him up. Williams corkscrews up, off, and down! Yep. Driving on Hawkins, firing off! Texas Tech has won!
Sears has a tie. This is for the record for himself. Mark Sears, three-pointer number 9. Sears leaves it up top. Morris saves it, gets it back. Sears number 13 from the line now. 11 points for Arizona. They're down 1. Flag kind of taking over here and a jump shot.
Allowing your stars to be starring. And that's what Cooper Flag is doing right now. The beautiful spin move, the gathered. Miguel way outside. Fake drive. Oh, knocked away. Parachuting in. Condon swats it. The other way, Richard. In the side now. It goes to Aberdeen. 7.5 to go. Defending Gillespie. Squeezes the trigger and puts it in.
Great job, RJ. So many things to get to from last night in the beginning night of the Sweet 16. Mia, I'll start with the Florida Gators, and there's a reason for that. Yesterday, I tried not to pat myself on the back, right? Like, because we all get stuff right from time to time, and none of the listeners really want us saying, I got this right every single time we're right? Because we're always right. Just kidding. But yesterday, we had the conversation of who's the glue guy for Florida. And you were like, it's Will Richard. And I was like, absolutely, he's definitely a glue guy. And then I said, but you know who I think the glue guy might be? And it's surprising because he's coming off the bench. I think it's Thomas Houck.
Oh, he's been the glue guy. Yeah. I mean,
and Todd Golden said after the game, he's the glue, or said during the game and then after the game, he's the glue guy. And I was like, I got something right when it comes to my basketball team.
Yeah, no. I mean, Thomas Houck is undoubtedly the glue guy. He's the 6th man of the year in the SEC. I mean, even if the awards don't say so.
I think he was second, wasn't it? Yeah,
right.
I was going to say.
Even if the awards don't say so,
yeah.
He is the 6th man of the year in my estimation because of the fact that he stuffs the stat sheet, because he does so much, because quite frankly, I mean, the most telling stat for me, if we want to talk glue guys, offensive rebounds. Nothing says hustle plays. Nothing says guys who perhaps win between the margins more than getting boards off the offensive glass. And that's what Thomas Houck does. He had 5 last night, 4 defensive boards to go along with it. I would also introduce, and certainly he's been hot or cold at different points since he had more of a starting role while Walter Clayton and Will Richard and Elijah Martin were fighting injuries. I give Denzel Aberdeen all the credit in the world. That second half where the Gators really pulled away, I'm not going to lie, Lauren, I think however long this run goes for Florida, I will not be able to sit back and relax until Denzel Aberdeen hits a 3 after seeing that stat from Mark Long. The Gators are undefeated in games in which the junior hits a 3-point shot. And so that's where, for me, like, as soon as he hit the 3 and the Gators were already starting to pull away, that's where I was like, okay, they're good. And you could also tell, not just because of what history says, but you could tell that he got into a much better rhythm comparatively to the UConn game, comparatively even to the opening round game, once he did hit that 3. And that's a huge development for Florida because you already have depth in your front court. If you can actually truly have a 4-man rotation, not to mention Urban Klobzar, in the backcourt as well, all of a sudden, we're looking at the team that we saw a month ago that everyone said they are the best team in America right now.
So Florida wins 87-71. A little injury issue, of course, when Alex Condon went down with the ankle injury, the same one that he had injured recently. So I, of course, was immediately worried about his ligaments in that ankle. He was able to return. Didn't look exactly good, I would say, or exactly healthy, but he certainly played as tough as he could. It's interesting that we've seen several injuries this season, that ankle injuries that haven't been season ending, which is great news for the teams that it happened to, like a Cooper Flagg, like a Janai Broom earlier this season, and Condon certainly is in that mix as well. Clayton's in there. So that's at least the good news. I don't know at this point about Condon. We're efforting.
Still played 14 minutes.
He did. Yeah, we're efforting for Zach Albaverdi, who was at the game last night, but he might still be sleeping because it is San Francisco, and he also was at the Arkansas-Texas Tech game. If we don't catch him today, maybe on Monday, but God bless you. But I do think that what's interesting is the point that a lot of us talked about, because Maryland had the Crab 5 and really nobody else. I think that's going to translate to this Texas Tech game as Florida plays them Saturday night, the Red Raiders, 6:08 p.m. Because here, Mia, and you know this well, Grant McCaslin, his guys, here are the minutes. Now, granted, it went to overtime against Arkansas, but here are the minutes.
Which is a story in and of itself.
Absolutely.
Continue.
JT Toppin, 37 minutes, 20 points. Great job. Darian Williams, 38 minutes, 20 points. Christian Anderson, 44 minutes, 22 points. Elijah Hawkins, 45 minutes. Kevin Overton, 37 minutes. Overton's coming off of the bench. That's pretty much it. There was another guy with like 12 minutes. That's only a 7-man rotation.
Yeah.
I don't know that, and again, Texas Tech may win the game Saturday night, but I don't know that teams can keep up with how many guys Florida runs out with those fresh legs.
So full disclosure, was catching up. We had a friend in town from my time at First Coast News last night, so I actually listened to the first half on radio with Sean Kelly and the crew as I was driving back from dinner. And so I'm going off radio. So I have really kind of flying blind, and I didn't get into the car until it was the 15-minute mark.
Lots of turnovers is what you missed.
A lot of turnovers. But then when Sean said, oh, wow, that's a foul on Reese, and I expected him, the way he said it, to say, oh, that's like the second or third foul on Reese, because we expected that to be such a major factor in that matchup with Maryland. And he goes, oh, well, all 5 starters now have 1 foul apiece, and this was with 2 minutes remaining in the first half. And I went, ooh, that's bad for Florida, because that was the expectation.
Sure.
The expectation was, if you're Florida, if you can bring this game, not muck it up, but if you can turn this into a battle in the paint, and you force Maryland to foul you, and you meet them at the rack, and in turn you get them into foul trouble, and all of a sudden they don't have enough fresh legs that they can rotate in and out to make sure that their stars aren't fouling out, that's how you win the game.
Yeah, bench points, 29 for Florida, 3 for Maryland.
Which it was 1. I loved that stat when they had 29-1. I was like, this is hilarious. But no, and it's a similar, very different style of offense, Texas Tech comparatively to the Crowd 5 of Maryland. But at the same time, yes, in terms of the rotation, how tight that Grant McCaslin keeps it, sure. I would argue, and this is with all due respect to Kevin Willard, who may have cemented himself in the character rankings for the month of March after
should have
his antics. I personally, Lauren, I'm going to call it right now. It's 12:07 as we begin today's program. I am hoping by the time we get off the air at 2 p.m., we get the Kevin Willard to Villanova announcement. I am eagerly awaiting because I cannot wait to play some of the sound. You know what, RJ, I send it to you. Let's just take a little sidebar visit here. We love characters in March. We love the chaos. I know Lauren loves the
I love the storylines, the X's
she loves
and
the
O's.
story arc. I because I'm so focused on X's and O's for the last 5 months of the basketball season, I enjoy some of the chaos. Here is Kevin Willard last night, the Maryland head coach, after Florida defeats them, and he is rumored to potentially be the next head coach at Villanova.
So I have not even. No, I don't know what I'm doing. I'll just be honest with you. I haven't talked to my agent. I haven't talked to my wife. I made a promise to this team that I was going to just focus on this team, and that's all I've done. So I haven't talked to anybody. Right now, my biggest concerns in life right now, I don't know who my boss is going to be, It's the guy that brought me here, who I really liked and appreciative of him bringing me to College Park, is not here anymore. And I don't know who we're going to hire. And that's, as in today's day and age, that worries me a little bit, I'm just being honest. My honesty got me in trouble. Might as well keep getting me in trouble. So this is going to be a family decision. I love College Park. I love Maryland, but when you're at this point in your career and you're looking at things, I have to take everything into consideration about what's moving forward. But I have not even talked to anybody, so I don't know what I'm doing.
I have not talked to anybody, but I'm still considering, and this is a family, like, what are we doing?
Honesty gets you in trouble.
It got me in trouble.
I'm heading to Villanova.
For those of you who've missed this honestly, then did you see he got booed as they were leaving the Maryland hotel by the Maryland fans?
He got booed when you were not watching yet, but he got booed before the game. The Maryland fans booed Kevin Willard, their head coach, ahead of a Sweet 16 game. They booed him then. And obviously that gets into I'm sure the players' heads too.
Well, as his star player Derek Queen put it, he pays them really nicely. He handles the money.
Every time last night I thought there was a travel, I just probably screamed travel just for the fun of it.
Just for Derek Queen.
By the way, I have a great stat for you. Florida has 6 top 25 wins this month. This month, Florida has 6 top 25 wins. The Gators have only had 6 in a season, 5 other times in program history. In a season.
And part of that is obviously the strength of the SEC.
For sure.
Historically
that is a huge
speaking,
part of it.
we've
Absolutely.
never seen an SEC quite.
Right. It was Kentucky, Florida, and that's about it. Maybe Tennessee.
That's part of it. But then you combine that with the draw that they got between Maryland, UConn, and yes, and also the fact that the Gators are pretty darn good. And we, of course, want you guys to chime in off the text line and the YouTube chat line. 904-641-1010, the number to reach us at. 806, Florida played terribly in the first half the last 2 games, and they still found a way to win. If they can just clean up the turnovers, they win it all. I agree. I'm curious to hear what the rest of the Heeligans have to say, because that second half was much more indicative of the team I believe Florida is than the slow starts where the turnovers, which were never an issue through the first 4 months of the season, correct me if I'm wrong, and all of a sudden they creep in.
There were games, obviously you can point to Florida's losses. Sure, and that's where they make their money a lot of times in the transition, right? Like Florida's fast break has been a bread and butter for them all season, and it's hard for other teams to keep up, which is why UConn almost beat Florida, because UConn slowed the game down dramatically and Florida could never get in a rhythm. It's like, for me, Mia, you played sports growing up like I did. There were games that you knew your season was over unless you win.
You play tight.
And you absolutely, your coach is tight. And I don't think Todd Golden's been tight. At least it doesn't come across, but we're not in the locker room with him. But they certainly have been tight. Florida, other than the first few minutes against Norfolk State, Florida has played tight until, yes, the second half last night. And it's almost like they finally got out of their system. And now if I was Texas Tech, like to your point about the overtime, all those minutes those guys played, I would be nervous if I was them.
Yeah, another fun stat from our friend Nick De La Torre, Florida victorious. Not that I want to scare you Gator fans.
I do not want you to read this stat because I know it.
No, I think it's a good thing. I think Nick's putting good juju into the universe because.
But I'm worried about the jinx.
No, I think it's good juju. I think he's trying to say this is the circle of life here, and this is where Florida gets off the snide. So the largest comeback.
Circle of life.
Yes, the largest comeback in Sweet 16 history. Ohio State came back from down 20 against Tennessee in 2007. They lost to Florida to end their season. Second largest comeback in Sweet 16 history was UCLA coming back from down 17 against Gonzaga in 2006. They lost to Florida to end their season. Third largest comeback in Sweet 16 history was Texas Tech coming back down 16 against Arkansas in 2025. Will they lose to Florida to end their season?
Well, if the extra minutes that they've played was any indication, it feels like I said, Florida now feels like almost like a steamer, right? Like they are just going full steam ahead. And Texas Tech, I think, is going to be tired. Like Kirby Smart talked about his players, tired. At least that's my hope because, of course, you all know my rooting interest. And look, I do think that this team, we've talked about it all season long, this team is a team for the ages, and as far as their personalities and how much they, love each other, the effort that they put in. You saw it last night. The diving for loose balls was back. The rebounds, like you mentioned, that was just a
because that wasn't there in the first half against UConn. So if you're looking for growth game over game, while they still started the game tight and the turnovers were obviously a problem in the first half again, at the very least, the effort along the boards was there. The effort for loose balls was there. That wasn't there against UConn.
Right.
So, so maybe now you eradicated it completely.
We shall see. I certainly hope so. All right, let's get on the other side to some other games.
Yeah, we got to talk about Cooper Flag.
We do have to talk about Cooper Flag for sure. You are listening to Helmets and Heels live here at Jacksonville University on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Does Flutie have a pro miracle?
I'm Doug Flutie on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Here's Flutie rolling out, and he is in for the touchdown!
Value or flavor? Price or taste? Why choose when you can get both with everyday deals at Sonny's? Right now, you can get the pork big deal for $10, the pork and rib combo for $12, and all you can eat ribs for just $19.99. Yep, you heard right. All your favorites are now available all day, every day. And that's why it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
At Duck Duck Air Conditioning, we've got a crazy offer just for you. Mia here. We're giving away free AC inspection to our wonderful customers who call and schedule now. No strings attached, zero cost for you. One of our expert techs will come look at your AC unit and make recommendations to ensure it's running at peak performance. But you must act today. A deal this good won't last forever. Call 904-862-6769. That's 904-862-6769 or visit them online at duckduckac.com. Any required repairs are not included in the inspection.
My son had a meniscus surgery a couple of years ago. When it's smooth as silk, Dr. Kevin Murphy did it. Was playing tennis in 2 weeks. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Has someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Cohen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI, domestic violence, and all criminal offenses. In your battle with the justice system, there's only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins, 354-5645. 354-5645.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold and silver and diamonds from the public. Gold has recently hit an all-time high at almost $3,000 per ounce. Pay bills, buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold for cash and get top dollar or trade it in for a new piece and get even more value at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
This is Corona Premier. It's the light beer you didn't know was a light beer. Until right. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Now, Corona Premier, an unexpectedly light beer.
Corona Premier, a light beer with just 90 calories and 2.6 grams of carbs. The premier side of light. For those that are active and on the go, pick some up the next time you're heading out to enjoy the day under the sun. Corona Premier, an unexpectedly light beer.
ET here, and it's time for the Taste of Golf at TPC Sawgrass, April 23rd. Join me for fine cuisine from chefs from the top golf clubs in our area. Craft cocktails, games, and unique auction items will be present. This is one of the most impactful charitable events in our area. Come network with a sophisticated audience who's passionate about golf and its values, while impacting the youth in our community. All proceeds benefit First Tee, North Florida. For tickets, go to tasteofgolf.com. Come on, somebody.
Mia O'Brien
is going to be the first woman president of the United States of America.
Catch me weekdays from noon to 2 on Helmets and Heels.
And she could run later this year even, and I would vote for her.
All things Mia are driven by Arlington Toyota on 1010XL.
Ah, summer in Jacksonville. Sun's out, flip-flops on, and whoa! Well, there goes Uncle Bob into the pool again. Protect your pool deck with Don't Slip Deck Coatings of Jacksonville. Their multi-layered slip-resistant coatings keep you on your feet, not on your backside. Durable, stylish, and way cheaper than an ER visit. Don't Slip Deck Coatings even has indoor options so your kitchen floor isn't a skating rink. Call 904-466-1839 for a free quote and follow Don't Slip Jacks on Facebook and Instagram.
Spring is in the air. Time to wake up your lawn with Heroes Lawn Care. Say goodbye to pesky mosquitoes with their organic and spray treatments. Perfect for outdoor fun. Keep your lawn clean and fresh with their pet waste removal for homes and businesses. Heroes Lawn Care takes care of it all. From mowing, edging, fertilizer to irrigation and much more. Visit heroeslawncare.com.
This is Hayes Cartline for Physician Guided Weight Loss. I'll tell you, this program works. I'm losing weight. I've got more energy. So my friend started the program a few weeks ago, and she's already seeing results.
That's right, Hayes. I just had my first month weigh-in, and I'm down 11 pounds. The food noise in my head is gone, and I just feel good. Plus, I have had no side effects.
Now's the time to do something that works. Start with Physician Guided Weight Loss, 257-4344, or visit pgweightloss.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Mia O'Brien is here. I'm Lauren Brooks, live here at Jackson University for beach volleyball, taking on Central Arkansas. RJ Saunders back at 1010XL headquarters playing this song. This is a cover of a song that I know well, but I've never heard this version. Very interesting, RJ.
Did I see a Florida Gulf Coast tent out there too, Lauren? Or do we have multiple teams on site? Okay.
Yes, there's a tournament, and Jacksonville University Athletic Director Alex Rico-Gilbert will join us at 1 o'clock today, so he'll certainly take us through everything that's going on here. But, yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people or a lot of teams here because there's a ton of cars. The beach volleyball used to be right here by the River House, and then with the construction going on of the new pool, it's now even closer to the river, and it's absolutely gorgeous. There's a sailboat out there. You can see the great view of downtown Jacksonville. I always tell people, if you've never been to UNF or to JU for beach volleyball, go. It is so much fun. I wish they had beach volleyball when I was in high school. I would have tried out. I don't know if I would have made the team. I played volleyball 6th, 7th, and 8th grade at St. Paul's, but I love volleyball.
That's like how I feel about flag football. I think I told the story on air. I got such a kick out of when, for National Women and Girls in Sports Day, I was at one of the elementary schools with our friends from Gator Bowl Sports, and when Katie Cox asked the girls to guess what sport I played, and they all said flag football. Like, it warmed my heart because we don't have that up north. And obviously, you know, if I'd gone to high school in Jacksonville, I don't even know if it was here then.
It wasn't.
And so that's why I was like, this warms my heart. And, you know, speaking of, I'll briefly give a shout out to our friends. I still got my credential on, I'm now realizing, despite the fact that I spilled coffee all over myself as I got out of the car. Our friends at Generation W, shout out Donna Orender, the former commissioner of the WNBA, of course, part of the PGA Tour once upon a time, too. They had their summit this morning. And just to see the growth of the various women's sports leagues and the opportunities that exist, it was not only, of course, reassuring, and we get to promote that idea of if you see it, you can be it every single day here on Helmets and Heels. Yes. But also statistically, just the number of women who want to be involved in sports, but also those leagues, really, like the numbers are there. It is cool to follow those WNBA, Professional Women's Hockey League. The volleyball league is actually on the rise, speaking of, so maybe we got to ask Alex about that as well. And so just great to see some of those actual numbers tangibly right in front of us, too.
Speaking of numbers and tangible numbers, Cooper Flagg last night, 30 points. But to me, Mia, it's not just that he's a great scorer. It's everything else he does. Yep. It's the assists and his eye for that one no-look pass that he had. And then, of course, it's the blocks as well. And Cooper Flagg, I think, going into the season, everybody knew his name. Now, maybe the face of college basketball?
That was the goal. The goal was, and I think we also have to remember, Lauren, that he is technically a high school senior right now.
Right.
He is 18. He just turned 18 in December. Like, he is a high school senior, and he is doing what he's doing. But more than that, and Kyle Mann from The Ringer pointed this out during their overnight podcast, reflecting upon the first round of Sweet 16 games. Yeah, they did it at like 1:30 in the morning, so I was listening this morning. And, you know, he pointed out that as much as we look at Cooper Flagg, and he is, for lack of a better term, the prince that was promised in college basketball, the heir apparent to Zion Williamson. We have not seen, outside of perhaps Zach Edey, a face of the sport quite like him. And, of course, he plays for the evil empire that is Duke. But John Shire deserves a lot of credit, as does the entire Duke program, for the roster construction, because the fact that you have Maluach, the fact that you have multiple bigs you can rotate in who are just so perfect and match Cooper Flagg's skill set. He can set them up for an alley-oop on a dime, on a seconds notice. And that's what I think is so fascinating. It's the growth of Flag, where we knew from the onset of his time in Durham that he was going to be a good scorer, but the fact that the spacing, the passing, the defending, which was still there, I think, at the beginning. I know there's some people who question his defense, but the fact that is also matured, I think, is not only a testament to him growing and the game slowing down, but also the pieces they put around him that just fit so perfectly.
Yeah, so Duke last night beat Arizona 100-93, and I feel like Arizona, I mean, they gave it
the first half
all they had.
The first half, we probably should have led with this. I thought last night, those 4 games, you can look at the 2 games that were in the 7 o'clock window, the Gators in Maryland, Duke in Arizona. And yes, both the second halves got away from the opposition rather quickly. But those 2 first halves combined with, and I know Duke was in the 10 o'clock window. I reversed that. Alabama, also that game got away from BYU. Point being, I thought it was 4 of the best games of the tournament, even if 3 of them on the surface ended up being blowouts.
Yeah, I told you yesterday, I think we'll have some upsets, right? In the Sweet 16 in general. I thought we were going to get one last night with Arkansas, Texas Tech. Arkansas was up by 16. You mentioned that stat earlier. And Texas Tech climbed back. I did not think a John Calipari-led team would do something like that. I thought that he would be able to gather his team in one of the timeouts.
The term, by the way, that people are now using, the Cal-apse.
Ah, that's a very good play on words, because that's exactly what it was. I can only imagine if you're an Arkansas basketball fan, and look, they won the national championship in 1994. They know what it's like to reach the mountaintop. I can only imagine how they're feeling today. Like, to have your heart ripped out when you're leading by that much. When Florida's up by 8, I feel like I can at least take a deep breath. By 16,
yep.
Oh, man alive.
And meanwhile, you have Grant McCaslin, who's going into the huddle every single time out, and he's saying, we're winning this game. We're winning this game. I mean, look, ultimately, he could have said that and they could have lost.
Sure.
I get that. But he has... And I was explaining this to Kevin last night, and of course, he already told me he's sick of. He's going to put a ban on the words Ben McCollum in our household, the new head coach at the University of Iowa, formerly at Drake University. But the reason I am so fascinated by this tree is the same reason I am so fascinated by the Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan tree, because it's the parallel in the 2 sports. It is this idea of, for lack of a better term, Ben McCollum, Grant McCaslin, 2 guys who coach at the D2 level forever, coupled with Dusty May, who, of course, most prolifically, in addition to being an assistant coach at Florida and also a manager at Indiana once upon a time, was the coach at FAU, a mid-major that made it all the way to the Final Four. And those 3 kind of getting their brains together each summer and having this summit and talking about ball screen offense and everything that they dissect is so different, but at the same time so similar to the way the game used to be played and how it sometimes is still played today. And so that's where I just think he's like a nutty professor of sorts. And ultimately, I believe the X's and O's won out over the athleticism of Arkansas. And that, for me, is score 1 for anybody who still believes that this game is won by coaching, by running sets, not just by, hey, I'm going to throw out the best athletes and a ton of diaper dandies and future number 1 overall picks, roll the ball out, and we're going to win the game. That is where this game of basketball has evolved so much in the college ranks from circa 2007, 2008, where if you're the bigger and more talented team, you're probably going to win.
It's interesting, too, in the fact that Alabama last night showed they can do everything. And when we looked up...
I said, by the way...
We looked up, by the way, and it was like 45-36 with in the first half with 5 minutes left to play. I was like, Alabama's winning this game.
Right.
BYU is not going to be able to keep up with that type of blistering pace.
The haters who say there's no scoring in college basketball are in shambles
People
this morning.
say that?
Yes, because they're not. I've heard a lot of NBA fans. RJ, not you, but I've heard NBA fans feel that there's not the pace of scoring is not at the same level. And the counter argument from the college basketball fans is, well, that's because we play defense.
Right.
And the fact that you had 2 games that went over 100 points last night is certainly a testament to that. Look, I don't think Alabama
How many threes did they hit? 24?
It was a record 25. 10 of them.
I stopped counting at 24.
10 of them courtesy of Mark Sears, who is finally looking like the National Player of the Year, who we believed he would be. I don't believe that they will be able to keep up that sort of pace in their Elite 8 matchup with Duke. But certainly at the start of the tournament, I said, and Frank Frangie is my witness. He came in the office and he said to me, who do you think can actually win? And I said, there's 3 teams. And a lot of my deduction as to why it's these three teams is because I know what Florida presents, as we talked about in the opening segment, the idea of so many bodies that you can rotate in and out and avoid foul trouble. And those three teams, Florida, Alabama, and Duke. And it is because of the depth on the front court, the back court, and the idea of they have the athletes and they're well coached.
It's going to be interesting tonight in watching Michigan and Auburn. That one tips off at 9:39. Because if Auburn loses to Michigan, all season it felt like Auburn was the better team than Alabama, and maybe until the very end of the season when they met and Alabama won. But Alabama's going to be like, in the end, we were the better team from this state. We run this gym. All right, so the games tonight: Ole Miss, Michigan State, 7:09; Kentucky, Tennessee, 7:39. That Michigan-Auburn game, like I mentioned, 9:39, and then Purdue, Houston, the late tip, 10:09 p.m. We're in for another fun night.
Yeah, excited for another good slate because after tonight, folks, I don't want to be that guy, but you only get 2 games tomorrow. You only get 2 games on Sunday. It's very sad. I love when you can have the multi-screen TV event going on. You can have multiple games.
Well, you can. There's baseball. There's college baseball.
We did last night. We had the Dodgers game up because it was the ESPN game up on TV3. But, yeah, there's something, too, especially last night when you had 4 elite games, albeit in the Sweet 16, playing off the theme of today's show.
Yeah.
The fact that you had 2 great games going on and then another 2 great games going on, if only in that first half, that for me was just, this is bliss. This is what we wanted last week during the opening round when everyone said that Cinderella is dead, the tournament is dead. If you want to watch high-quality basketball, that was on display last night. And I will say this.
And 10 million people watching would tend to agree. It's what the numbers have been to this point.
Right, exactly. So it's not dead. The sport is not dead. I would also like to give flowers to Caleb Love, who, for better or worse, over the last 4 years, has ultimately been the ultimate Jekyll or Hyde character in college basketball. He is either 1 of 19 or 3 of 25, or he's 10 for 20 or 10 for 15 and goes off for 35 points. And that's what we saw last night against Duke. And look, it obviously took a long, winding road from when he and UNC took down Duke in the Final Four in New Orleans back in 2022 to here we are in 2025. He's now a member of Arizona. But that first half, that's why I say last night was one of the best nights of college basketball so far during the tournament. Sitting down and watching Con Knippel and Caleb Love, I know, you can laugh. It's okay. Every time we say that's how we want to pronounce. That's how we're going to say his name. Knippel, Flag, going back and forth, trading threes with Caleb Love in that final 2-minute sequence was some of the most electric basketball I have seen this year. And, of course, when Cooper Flag gets the rebound, there's 7 seconds left on the clock. Did anybody out there in Hooligan Nation, did anybody out there who was watching this game live think that he would miss that 3 at the buzzer? Because I did not. I said, this is going in. And I believed in that moment. I said, you watch, Duke's going to win by 3, and this is going to be the deciding factor. They end up winning by 7, but I came away from it with 2 observations. Number 1, high-level basketball. Number 2, Cooper Flag is mentally different. He is mentally tough. And they talked about this on the Ringers recap show last night because they said, when you look back at that Duke team that lost to UNC and Caleb Love, when Caleb Love is shooting the lights out, RJ Davis, the former iteration, I know some North Carolina fans, including Graham Marsh, aren't happy with his regression over the last 3 years. They are absolutely dominating the offensive end of the floor in that 2022 Final Four. And you look at Paolo Banchero, sorry Magic fans, you look at Mark Williams, and they got down on themselves. Cooper Flag is never down on himself. He's talking some smack. He's talking to himself, saying, I am the best player on the floor. And there is something to that positive affirmation.
Yeah, I have no idea who's going to win between Alabama and Duke.
I think it's going to be the game of the tournament.
After watching both of those games last night, I feel like Alabama's pace that's maybe the one thing they have an advantage over Duke. But Duke, to your point, has Cooper Flag. All right, I want to get into the NFL on the other side. I've got some comps I want to run by Mia O'Brien. You are listening to Helmets and Heels. We are live here at Jacksonville University for some beach volleyball action on this gorgeous Friday. It's 1010X on 92.5 FM.
Your home for Florida Gators baseball is 1010XL.
The Gators head to the Delta to run down the Rebels. Florida Ole Miss. Tonight at 7:30 on 1010 AM.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Winter clutter holding you back? Freshen up your home this spring with a custom organization solution from Closets by Design. Mia here for a limited time. Take advantage of their spring special. Get 40% off any order of $1,000 or more, or 30% off any order of $700 to $1,000, plus an additional 15% off with 12-month special financing and free installation on any order of $850 or more. Call today to schedule your free consultation at 1-800-293-3744 or visit closetsbydesign.com.
Come visit the best sports restaurant in town. That's Big Dogs in Orange Park, known for great burgers, huge wings, pizza, salads, and special nightly events like trivia and karaoke. You'll all love it at Big Dogs Restaurant in Orange Park.
There's a lot on the line in a divorce. Your home, savings, maybe even your kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce and the unexpected directions it can take, you need a partner you can count on. I'm Rick Julius, a partner at Cordell & Cordell. Don't let divorce take more than it has to.
Offices in Jacksonville. Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's attorneys. Lisa Cargis, Florida resident partner. Rick Julius, licensed in Pennsylvania only. Online at CordellCordell.com.
Lots of jewelry stores in the town center, but only one is locally owned, Beard's Diamonds.
We're the only local jewelry store at the town center.
That's Jacksonville's John Lupo, owner of Beard's for over 4 decades.
We're entrenched in Jacksonville, Florida.
In a sea of mega chain jewelers, John says it's easy to stand out because he's not handcuffed by a corporate handbook.
I am not beholden to a corporate structure, so we've got flexibility to do whatever we can and want, and we do.
And that includes lowering prices to undercut them every day.
Quality for quality, color for color, everything the same. We should be able to beat them hands down by minimum 20%. We go overseas ourselves. We know exactly what we're buying. This isn't getting marked up in a corporate structure. We will beat anybody's price anywhere.
So before you buy anything at one of those chains, get a second opinion at locally owned Beard's Diamonds. No corporate atmosphere, no corporate rules, no corporate high markups.
We want you to come shop us and you'll see a lot better price here.
Beard's Diamonds.
Everybody gets a good deal at Beard's.
I'm Stacy, and I want to tell you about my fogged up window fiasco at my house. I called up Mac at Baker Glass. He told me all I needed was a glass replacement. The process was so easy. All within a few days, they came out, measured, called me with an estimate, cut my glass, and came out to install the new ones. Now my view outside is fog-free thanks to Mac and his crew at Baker Glass. And my neighbors think I got some fancy new windows.
I'm back with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
March 28, 1990, NBA superstar Michael Jordan scored a career-best 69 points in the Bulls' overtime win against the Cleveland Cavaliers, marking his 4th time scoring 60 points in a game.
Hey, Hicken here, or just call me Dreamfinders Danny. For a limited time to ring in the new year, Dreamfinders Homes is offering an amazing 4.99% fixed interest rate. Now's your chance to lock down that rate and get in the game. You heard me right. It's 4.99 fixed interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to dreamfindershomes.com for more details.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family-owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
You waited forever for your new fence. Then, strangers show up. Subcontractors rushing the job. Sent by the company you trusted. Frustrating, right? Superior Fence and Rail promises better. Their professionally trained builders deliver quality you can trust. No subcontractors, no shortcuts. Just the superior craftsmanship your home deserves.
When you're on the fence, about the fence, superiorfenceandrail.com.
AA Automotive helps keep your vehicle in dependable and safe condition. Call Sam, Harry, or Joe, and they'll check your brakes, tires, fluids, electric, and motor, so your ride runs smooth on the road. That's AA Automotive on Richard Street.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Today off. She has the day off on Monday as well. I do know that she was locked into some NBA last night. We'll get to that a little bit later in the show, but if she was here today, we would have already played that amazing highlight, but we will get to it in a little bit. All right, I want to get to the NFL, Mia, as we are live here at JU overlooking the lovely beach volleyball set up in the construction of the new pool, which is going to be just sensational.
And absolutely loving all of the pollen, all of the trees. So this is just your disclaimer,
This
folks.
is March, baby.
Yes, exactly. This is your disclaimer. If you hear any sniffles, just we're with you. We are thinking of you, Heeligans. We are literally living the dream with you.
The pollen on the cars is the indication that, it is allergy season. All right, so Matt Miller, Trevor Sikkema, and Tyler Brook of the 33rd team. He's probably not as well known as the first two. ESPN's Matt Miller, of course, and then Trevor Sikkema of PFF. They have some NFL comparisons, some comps. I love me some NFL comps. And so I want to run through some of these and see if these guys are right, how does it affect maybe what the Jaguars should do in drafting, especially with that pick 5 overall. So we will start with, and also, ESPN's Jordan Reed. We'll start with Mason Graham. Jordan Reed, his NFL comp is Christian Wilkins. Do you draft Mason Graham at 5 if you're the Jaguars, if he turns out to be Christian Wilkins?
Well, yeah, and that was the argument we made on Duval Rundown yesterday. Like, ultimately, what is Christian Wilkins, though? Like, because Christian Wilkins, I mean, first off, he barely played last year after signing with the Las Vegas Raiders. So I think we forget, like, what is it about him that made him one of the highest paid free agents a season ago after he played just 5 games last year. Christian Wilkins had a 9-sack season, his final season in Miami. Up to that point, his career high was 4.5.
Right.
And so
I would say no, by the way, that you don't use the 5th pick on a guy like that.
Right, because Christian Wilkins, I believe, went 18th or 15th or something like that overall to the Dolphins. Now, here's my thing. Like, if he's a defensive tackle, realistically, should you be expecting double-digit sacks each year? Is that your metric for success? Because if the answer is yes, that's what you want, well, then the comp's not Aaron Donald. And that's arguably the only human being who's been able to do that.
Correct.
You could also talk about Calais Campbell, maybe some of these players who play inside and outside. They are double-digit sack guys. Mason Graham is not that. He is going to line up primarily in the interior, somewhere between, if you're a smaller lineup, between the 0 to the 5 technique. And so, again, that's where it comes down to what is your definition of success. When I look at Christian Wilkins' numbers, do I believe Mason Graham could get to that point? I do. But as we made the argument yesterday, I believe he's going to need a Robin. He's going to need, whether it's his former running mate at Michigan, Kenneth Grant, whether it's some other space-eating, massive nose tackle who can shed blocks and eat up space to free him up. Certainly having capable edge rushers like he had in Josiah Stewart, also important. And so I'm not saying that it has to be the perfect situation, but what I am saying is that realistically, if the Jaguars were to draft Mason Graham and he only has 3.5 sacks and he has like 5 tackles for loss, that's a good season. But I know for some in the fan base, that will not be enough.
So I know we always want to use the Aaron Donald comp for any defensive tackle. I feel like Chris Jones is a much more reasonable, realistic comp. Chris Jones' sack totals to his first year, but then 6.5, 15.5, 9, 7.5, 9, 15.5, 10.5, 5. Like, yeah, he's not the greatest defensive tackle of all time. I 100% am drafting that guy at 5.
Yes.
If Mason Graham turns out to be more of a Chris Jones, and that's a no-Doug comment. If you get Chris Jones, your defense is elite.
You also would like to hope you have Chris Jones already on the roster and Mason Smith, because for some, that was the ceiling when the Jaguars drafted him. That was a comp that many people threw out there. And look, if you could have Chris Jones and Christian Wilkins on the same team, like, hello, we're cooking with gas out here.
Yeah.
But I ultimately think that for either of those two players, and it'll be interesting with Chris Jones this upcoming season because, yes, they lost perhaps quote-unquote no names like Derek Nottie and yada, a couple other players along that interior that they've rotated some different names throughout the years, Omenahue, et cetera, et cetera.
Wharton.
Point being, right, Wart, like, again, a variety of different names that maybe you don't hear about as much as Jones because he's the high-paid, the marquee name, the guy who made the big bucks got the bag because he's the sack getter. But ultimately, who is that person next to him? And that's where I think James Gladstone, Liam Cohen's evaluation of Devon Hamilton, maybe bringing in some extra bodies, Jordan Jefferson, that's going to be equally as important as is the growth of Mason Smith and if you were to draft Mason Graham.
All right, opposite side of the ball. If these comps are correct for Penn State tight end Tyler Warren, we are drafting, the Jaguars are drafting him at 5 overall, and here are the comparisons. Sycamore has the comp as Dallas Clark. Matt Miller from ESPN has the comp as Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah. No, I heard one yesterday.
If Tyler Warren is that, draft him at 5.
Right.
I'm not worried about anything else.
And I heard somebody say yesterday he's some of the best traits of Gronkowski and some of the best traits of Travis Kelce.
I mean, bring him to Jacksonville. And I have not been on the Tyler Warren train by any means, but if these comps are correct, then you 100% draft him at 5.
I know we have some Heeligans who are Nittany Lion fans. For those of you who didn't watch a lot of Penn State football last year, turn on the tape from the game against USC, and that's all you need to know as far as why, yes, drafting a tight end in the top 5 is frowned upon traditionally, but Tyler Warren, much like how Travis Hunter could help you fill multiple holes, Tyler Warren can help you fill multiple holes because he makes you better in your run game. Not only as a blocker, you can hand him the ball as well. He makes you better in your receiving game. He certainly can be a 6th offensive lineman if you want him to be. And so that is a talent that I actually don't think Gronk or Travis Kelce or Dallas Clark a little bit more so, but Dallas Clark didn't have the ability to truly be this like flex finesse receiver at the same time as also being an inline blocker. Like I just look at Dallas Clark and I think like burly inline catcher, like that's just what I think. But then I look at Tyler Warren and I say, well, they flexed him out all the way to the sideline and let him go one-on-one with a DB. And that I think is also the evolution of the modern athlete. And so in that vein, maybe that's the best comp would be Dallas Clark. But yes, certainly could have the productivity of a Gronk or Travis Kelce.
All right, back to the defensive side of the ball. Since you mentioned Travis Hunter, I say defensive. He can play receiver. The NFL comp Matt Miller has as far as receiver, Odell Beckham Jr., and then Trevor Sycamore, the NFL comp, if he plays cornerback, Champ Bailey.
That's a really, That's
I've been thinking about him a lot. If he's at 5, you are drafting that guy. You are partying, the confetti's raining down, and you are celebrating that as a huge win.
Shout out Folkestone. Shout out Champ Bailey. I was actually thinking about him the other day with the Asante Samuel Sr. comments about how him and Dion have basically the same numbers. And when I first heard the stats, I was like, oh, minus all the Pro Bowls, like the 12 Pro Bowls or whatever that Champ had. I'm like, this kind of sounds like Champ because of the Super Bowl rings. My thing with Travis Hunter, I was told in December by someone in the league that Colorado had to go get what I'm blanking on his name, the defense coordinator they had last year. It wasn't Pat Shurmur. I forget who it was. Whoever was with the Cincinnati Bengals that they had to bring in. Deion Sanders brought that coordinator in largely because he recognized that
Robert Livingston.
Travis's skill set was best as a zone corner, and he couldn't leave Travis on an island. Now, they did leave him on an island, but he never really was press man one-on-one. And when he was, as ferocious as he is in running through contact as a ball carrier, there were questions about the tackling. And the fact that this person who has no skin in the game when it comes to Travis Hunter said to me, if you're looking for a true man, one-on-one, leave him on an island corner, then that is Will Johnson out of Michigan. That's not Travis Hunter. That's what gave me pause as far as any of these comps. And because, look, Champ Bailey can win one-on-one. You can leave him on an island. I think again, and I'm now going back through my brain and kind of like comparing the two. I think that what's going to be interesting is we don't know what scheme Coach Camp's going to run, Anthony Campanelli. We don't know what scheme it's going to be here. Is it going to be more of a zone but with some press man elements to it, if only at the defensive back position? We don't know. Is it going to be this positionless defense, and maybe that does suit an athlete like Travis Hunter? I don't know.
But if the NFL comps are right, and by the way, I use these from these highly paid people because it's better than just me coming up with my own NFL comp because they study this so closely. They're not always right, obviously. But if they're right, then you play Travis Hunter at corner. If the comp is Champ Bailey, who's a Hall of Famer, you play him at corner, then
who also
not
played
receiver.
both ways in college. So
Right, but
yeah.
then you don't play him at receiver, which if the comp is Odell Beckham Jr., and again, if that's correct. Here's an interesting one. This one comes from PFF. Emeka Egbuka's NFL comp, Amon-Ra St. Brown.
It's a good one. It's very good.
He absolutely would be on this football team and be a stud.
Full disclosure.
And he ran, what did I say yesterday, 4.38?
Yeah, I submitted my my big board for our 1010XL draft guide, which drops on Monday, by the way. So make sure you're ready to download that on the 1010XL social channels and the 1010XL.com website. I made my big board this morning, and it's different than my wide receiver rankings, which I already submitted a few weeks ago. And I was like, oh, God, there's a discrepancy there. But, hey, listen, please forgive me, because I did move Egbuka up my big board comparatively to the wide receiver rankings where I had him fourth.
Well, a lot of things have changed.
A lot of things have changed. I believe.
4.48.
And by the way, speaking of Matt Miller, he has Luther Burden as his stop overthinking it prospect, and I tend to agree because I saw what Luther Burden did as a sophomore, and I can't unsee that. At the same time, though, I also saw Emeka Egbuka come back to Ohio State and do what he did. Yes, second fiddle, if you want, to Marvin Harrison Jr. Second fiddle to Jeremiah Smith as a true freshman. Look, ultimately, he's a pro's pro. And I just look at it and I say this is a guy who came back for a reason. He would have been a second or a third round pick last year. He bet on himself. We talk so much on this program about the guys who bet on themselves and maybe it doesn't work out. We also talk about the guys who it did work out, i.e. Josh Hines-Allen. And I believe Egbuka is the same. And I appreciate the competitive nature that showcases. And I also think that ultimately he is a guy that while, yes, he'll be labeled as a slot receiver, much like I think Amon-Ra was once upon a time in the 2021 draft, he can flex out. I've seen it before. I think even then, the reason that the comp is Amon-Ra St. Brown and maybe not Christian Kirk is that Amon-Ra has proven, not that Christian Kirk hasn't, but I think that there's still a question mark there for some reason with Kirk, although we saw it in 2022, so I don't doubt it. But there's no doubt that Amon-Ra can play all three spots, and that is where the modern NFL offense is headed. As we've talked about ad nauseum, that's what Liam Cohen wants. That's what Cooper Kupp is. That's what Puka Nacua is. And so that's where, yes, I think that would be a very, very good comp.
Amon-Ra St. Brown is the guy that catches everything, and he is so incredibly tough.
Pro's pro.
Absolutely. So and Christian Kirk is a pro's pro too, but because of the injuries the last couple seasons, I think he's certainly fallen off a lot of people's radars as being a receiver that's as talented as what we saw, like you said, in 2022. Final one here, Abdul Carter, the NFL comp, of course, is Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the Jaguars don't need a starting edge player necessarily, but you also, just because you have those two guys, you can't just assume they're never going to get injured and you're not going to have any sort of rotation. So you would add Micah Parsons to this Jaguars roster and be better.
You would, and I think that the comp is, I don't want to call it, it's not lazy because it's accurate, but it's because A, they both went to Penn State. B, they both started at the Mike linebacker position, ended up at edge rushers, are positionless players. C, both had personality questions coming out. I believe Abdul Carter, in my estimation, more than Micah Parsons, but history, I may be having revisionist thoughts because of what Micah Parsons has been able to do since entering the National Football League. 3 Pro Bowl selections in his first 3 years in the league, which is basically unheard of. And so, look, yes, I agree, and I think Abdul Carter would have that nasty, that competitor. I've just also heard, and again, it brings up this question of what is culture, and someone on the text line just brought this up as well. They said, I'm going to make sure we get to it. This is from, I think this is from 678 again. 678's been on fire today. Basically saying,
hopefully not working.
Exactly, right? Here we go. It's 601. The draft is important, but I think changing the culture is way more important this year. Jax needs to implement a mindset that losing is not acceptable. They need to sign and draft players who we in Wisconsin would call Bucky, who have an ornery Badger mentality. That's Abdul Carter. But also, again, have you created an infrastructure where you can bring in that guy but still harness that energy the right way? I don't know the answer to that. And I've heard now multiple national pundits. I know Daniel Jeremiah said it on the 40s and Free Agents podcast with Greg Rosenthal. And Greg said the Jaguars have a bunch of singles and doubles right now. They have a bunch of guys who are good. They don't have that guy who is great. Abdul Carter has the ability to be great. But in the same vein, you have a lot of guys who their personality is even keel. You don't have a lot of guys with a couple screws loose. Do you still have the personalities that can harness that? Do you have the leadership in the building that can harness that? I don't know the answer because we haven't seen them on the grass yet.
Right, but we also won't know the answer as to the question of what is intangibly rich.
Mm-hmm.
We won't have that answer until this draft is completed.
And even then, we really won't until next draft because this is a different scouting staff than James Gladstone's probably going to have during his time here in Jacksonville.
True, but they will add 10 guys that certainly he'll have a huge influence on those guys. And so we'll be able to at least put them collectively as a group and identify more of, okay, that's what they meant by intangibly rich.
We got a couple of comps off the YouTube chat line, so let's take a look at them. Hef, going back to Tyler Warren, says his comp is Jeremy Shockey, which I actually really like that comp.
Yeah, it's a good comp.
If only in terms of measurables and in terms of the skill set, I do like that comp. I actually think Warren has more juice than Jeremy Shockey, which take that for what it's worth. Again, I think that also speaks to the evolution of the position. It's no longer just a burly guy with girth who also happens to be a great pass catcher. It's actually someone who has the physique that could also play a bigger-bodied wide receiver.
Yeah, I would love the two tight end sets with Brenton Strange and Tyler Warren on the field.
Right, which certainly at Penn State that worked out pretty well for them. Robert says, I think on the low end, Warren is Delaney Walker. The Titans had him carry the ball at times.
Delaney Walker killed the Jaguars in his career as Titan. Killed the Jaguars.
And then he also says I think Abdul Carter is more Van Ginkel, is an Andrew Van Ginkel than Micah Parsons, which is interesting.
Yeah, good stuff, everybody. And I have one more, but we ran out of time. So sorry, I can't get to the Iowa running back Caleb Johnson.
Oh, come on.
The NFL comp is James Conner, but we will chat with Alex Ricker-Gilbert on the other side. I've got some quarterback ones that I can throw at you in a little bit as well. But we want to talk all things JU athletics. We are live here at JU in the lovely campus, the oak-shrouded campus here at Jackson University. It's a beautiful Friday here on 1010X on 92.5 FM.
Do you realize where we are? No. Look around, man. The clean, modern aesthetic, the cool blue color palette. We're in
1010XL.
It's the college basketball playoffs, and Hurricane Grill and Wings has slam dunk specials like $3.75 Miller Lite drafts with 30 bold wing flavors, ice cold drinks, handcrafted cocktails, and big screens everywhere. Watch all the action at Hurricane Grill and Wings.
Lauren Brooks here. At Hodges Mazda, they are proud of their solid reputation in the Jacksonville community. As your hometown Mazda dealer, their high customer service standards and their huge inventory of new and used cars provide their customers a consistently first-rate car buying experience. Their professional, non-commissioned sales team put your best interests first without exception. And all new vehicle purchases include the Hodges Mazda Protection Package. Visit them online at HodgesMazda.com or stop in today to learn more and discover the Hodges Mazda difference.
Tired of drafty, noisy vinyl windows? It's time to say goodbye to vinyl. And hello to lasting comfort with Renewal by Andersen windows and doors. Our exclusive Fiberx windows are 2 times stronger than vinyl, more energy efficient, and custom built to fit your home perfectly. No more warping, no more cracking, just beautiful, durable windows that stand the test of time. Right now, get special financing or save big with limited time discounts. Call Renewal by Andersen today and say bye-bye vinyl. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com. Don't wait. Upgrade today. License number CGC 1527613.
With so many competitive pest services in town, you might wonder why Kingfish Pest Control's business is booming while similar companies seem to be struggling. It all comes down to service, affordability, and effectiveness. Kingfish Pest Control is a local family-owned company who delivers on their promises to effectively control pests like ants, spiders, roaches, termites, mosquitoes, and more. Your home is their priority, so call today and discover why your neighbors and your buddy Hayes Carlion trust Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jaguars.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and there's so many cool products that are on the line at Cycles of Jacksonville. The showroom is Atlantic and Regency, and we're talking, Greg, you've got from any level of price point, the experienced rider to the inexperienced on-road, off-road.
We've got it. We've got ATVs, we've got motorcycles, we've got scooters, we even have the new Honda boats. We've got something for everyone.
Don't forget about the boat line from Honda. It's all right there, waiting for you. Atlantic and Regency or Cycles of Jacksonville's Facebook page.
Pick it here for Bow 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bow 9. Visit Bow 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bow 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
if you've lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call Instant Keys, 722-1111.
This is Dr. George Bari inviting you to look online at BariOrthopedics.com for the latest in medical advancements when it comes to getting you back to full joint health. After studying under Dr. James Andrews, I know proper diagnosis is the first key to treatment, and educating the patient is the fastest path to recovery. Whether it's chronic back pain, nagging arthritis, or necessary joint replacement, we're here to serve you in the best possible way. We are Bari Orthopedics and online at BariOrthopedics.com.
Find out more at BariOrthopedics.com. That's BAHRI Orthopedics.com.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Do you know someone looking for a fun and rewarding summer job? Join the YMCA team, gain valuable experience, and make a difference in kids' lives. Turn your passion for this community into a fulfilling career at the First Coast YMCA. Now hiring camp counselors, lifeguards, childcare leaders, and membership experience team. Every single person on the dedicated YMCA staff plays a role in making the Y a welcoming and vital resource for our community. Find your career at the Y at fcymca.org.
Equal opportunity employer.
You'll always feel good when you send someone a Kuhn Flowers floral or plant arrangement. This is RJ with 1010XL, and no matter what the reason, Kuhn Flowers has always come through for me. Order online at kuhnflowers.com. Getting a pool? David Garrard here. I just did. But before they dug, I called Clearwater Irrigation, and they capped off all my sprinkler lines so the pool company could just dig away.
Then when your pool's finished, we'll install your sprinkler system back to full coverage.
And now my backyard oasis is getting watered beautifully.
And maybe then, Dave, I could take another quick dip.
Bigger swimming trunks, John. Much bigger.
Clearwater Irrigation.
And drainage, too.
Your hole-in-one for men's health is Ackerman Urology. With offices in Mandarin, Middleburg, Rural Golf Village, and the beaches, Ackerman will get you on par for any prostate conditions and sexual vitality. Visit AckermanUrology.com.
Hicken here. Beat the spring cleaning rush and call our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. This month, get one room Zero Resified starting at $53. Take $100 off your air duct cleaning. Visit ZeroResJacksonville.com and tell them 1010XL sent you.
Zero Res. McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, brought to you by Southern Oak Insurance. I think their bench really wore us down, said Maryland head coach Kevin Willard as Florida Gator used their depth against the Terrapins last night, outscoring Maryland 29-3 from the bench. Denzel Aberdeen added 12 points in his short time on the court in the Gators' win, stating, "We came in with a lot of great energy." The Gators kept this energy throughout both halves, and head coach Todd Golden gave credit to his bench.
The big thing that we had talked about as a staff in our prep was, like, regardless of what's going on, like, we gotta trust our bench and know that that's a huge advantage for us tonight. And obviously with Kondo going down, I don't think we were able to even take as much advantage as we really would have wanted to, with him only getting 13 minutes. And we didn't play Herb as much. But the way Tommy, Micah, and Zell gave us minutes off the bench was huge. They were, the difference. Our bench, we outscored them 29-3 bench scoring. I think that was a huge difference in the game as well.
It's 80 degrees at 101. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Taylor Dahl has the day off. Mia O'Brien is here. RJ Saunders back at 1010XL headquarters. I'm Lauren Brooks, live here at Jacksonville University, and we welcome in Alex Ricker-Gilbert, the athletic director of Jackson University. Thanks so much for having us out here today.
Thanks for being here and supporting our beach volleyball program and our university. We're glad to have you both.
And congratulations. You and your wife welcomed your first child earlier this month. So excited for you all.
Yeah, little baby Charlie joined us. She joined us 3.5 weeks ago, so things are good. Everybody's doing well.
She's a basketball baby.
She's basketball
born in March.
That's right. She was born the day of the quarterfinal game of our men's basketball team. Not that I'm remember specifically,
right.
Or anything, where we hosted Eastern Kentucky and won the game that night. I debated when I was in the hospital, telling Hillary I had to take a walk or something and come back 3 hours later, but I decided that was probably not in my best interest.
Well,
so.
that was a smart move.
Yeah, I think
I'm
so.
just
For
saying,
long term, yeah.
As much as, look, we want you and your family to enjoy your privacy in this wonderful moment, I would have been flaunting it, being like, undefeated, never lost, look at this child, has never seen. Like, I would have floated around with that for a while.
Yeah. So it's been really good, and everybody says beforehand that there's nothing like it, and you don't really know what that means, but now I do.
And, certainly I saw that Florida's women's basketball head coach, Kelly Ray Finley, is expecting. And I can only imagine how difficult it is to coach a team and also, be a mom and all that stuff. But let's get to what's going on here right behind us for people watching on YouTube. A little construction project.
Yeah. So out back of the River House, this used to be where our beach volleyball courts were. And we have courts set up just beyond this now, and right behind us there's a construction on our new amenity center, which includes a what we like to call probably the best comp, a Vegas-style pool.
Okay.
For our students. And actually, if you can believe it, it was the idea of Coach Jordan Mincy.
Oh, wow.
And it's come to life. Yeah, it's come to life as something that'll be a really awesome amenity and experience and place to hang out for our students. And right next to it will be new beach volleyball courts. Inside the building, there'll be places to hang out, pool, ping pong, things like that, and then also our beach volleyball locker room. So we're really looking forward to it, able to activate that space. Obviously, here in the River House, we have a restaurant, Cantina Rio, and so students will be able to hang out outside and order food from the pool, and they'll get it brought out to them. So not a bad way of living.
Yeah, that's not bad.
That's a sales pitch if I've ever heard of it in this world of NIL, which I know you told us last time you joined us, Alex. Maybe we'll get into that and kind of the future of college athletics a little bit more. But certainly, I think that it's also a sales pitch too.
Not a bad
being able to sit here on the St. Johns River poolside, have food brought to you. That's a pretty good sales pitch to student
Not
athletes.
bad if I'm an 18 to 22
I am curious because since you said Jordan gave the idea of this pool here, because we can't see it from here and obviously it's under construction, what is the shape? Is it a dolphin or is it just kind of Vegas style like you said?
It does kind of look like a dolphin. Maybe we'll go with that.
Okay.
I don't think it was supposed to be, but that's also a good recruiting pitch.
We led off this program by saying always be marketing about the Florida Gators sending out season ticket opportunities for men's basketball for next year. And so, hey, always be marketing as well with the Dolphins.
That's right. I like it. Yeah, I think the idea is to have different parts in different areas of the pool so it doesn't just look like, your everyday backyard pool, so you can have different spots inside the pool to hang out. I don't think it's going to be very deep because I don't think students really want to swim that much as they want to look at their phone and hang out and be able to do both at once. So.
That is true. I know a lot of women, especially who don't like to get their hair wet.
There you go.
But maybe college students are different. All right, Alex, let's get it to the actual athletics going on right now. Spring, I know, is one of the craziest times in college athletics, but where are you as far as the baseball? I went to, by the way, the Florida JU softball. That was my first time enjoying the game out there along the hedges. It was so fantastic. But baseball, softball, all the things going on. Tennis. Yeah, so it's a busy time. The busiest time of year is when you have crossover with hoops, too. Yes. And we have men's and women's lacrosse and baseball, softball, and beach volleyball, and all of that going on with basketball and rowing. And it's a little less busy now, but not by much. And so all of our programs are very competitive here in the spring. Beach volleyball won this morning. Looks like they're going to win again. Men's lacrosse plays tomorrow, a league game against the Air Force Academy. People say league game, Air Force Academy. Well, men's lacrosse only has about 80 Division I programs, and so the membership's a little bit different. That's always a really important game. Usually at the top of the ASUN for men's lacrosse, it's us, Air Force, and Utah. And so the jockeying for seeding in the conference tournament is important. It starts tomorrow, first league play game. Women's lacrosse is really, really remarkable what they've done the last 4 or 5 weeks. We have a really young team.
Coach Singleton, to her credit, played a really tough schedule first month of the season, and we got humbled and lost 4 to kick off. But to her credit and the kids' credit, they didn't play much easier opponents, but we've won 5 in a row, including this week. We went up to Mercer, who had just beaten Clemson, and beat them. So she's done a really good job keeping them in it, keeping them confident, particularly with the youth on that team. And baseball, softball, both just getting started in league play. I think we got a really nice team on the baseball diamond, and softball is going to compete as well. So it's busy, and it's an exciting time of year, and wouldn't have it any other way. My weekends watching our Dolphins compete.
That's right. I also went to the JU Florida baseball game earlier this season. It was very chilly that night, but it was a really good crowd. So
yeah.
You guys have done such a good job.
Yeah.
JU Athletic Director Alex Ricker-Gilbert, kind enough to give us a few moments as we are live at the River House here on the campus of Jacksonville University. Alex, beach volleyball is a growing sport, not just at the collegiate level, but I think at the high school level as well. Give folks who may be not as familiar with how, the fact that you have multiple ASUN programs here on campus today for this tournament, as well as the growth of the sport at the varsity level.
Yeah, so it was an emerging sport as classified by the NCAA probably in 2013. Right as I got here in 2014 was our first or second season. And it's growing, I would say, as far as sponsorship numbers, maybe not quite as fast as like a women's lacrosse across the country, but pretty close. And it's a different environment. It's really neat. It's more festival-y. That's not a word, but it feels more
but people
like
get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I described it for our listeners as like you drive up. And you obviously see the beautiful St. John's.
Hanging out.
Multiple tents, multiple schools represented, so it does have that more of a festival feel.
Yeah, it's not. I wouldn't say it's laid back, but it's definitely more of an opportunity to engage with the student athletes, with the coaches, with the fans out there, versus a very tense basketball game, for example. So in that way, it's really neat. It's really inviting. It's really different. And our program has come a long, long way. When beach volleyball started, I think, a lot of programs thought that it could sort of fit under the same umbrella as the indoor program and, the same coach for both programs. Right. And that's how a lot of programs started, but it's a very different sport and requires a different attention and requires its own coaching staff and own coaching personnel. And so we've been able to grow in that space, and we've become much, much more competitive in the last 2 or 3 years. Dylan's done a really good job recruiting and coaching these young ladies up. We were a program that had a ton of crossover, so most of our beach volleyball players were also indoor players, but that shifted over the years because I think of the youth growth in the sport. There are kids playing beach volleyball more and more. And so all but 2 or 3 of our student athletes are beach-only student athletes, which is a big change from 4 or 5 years ago when this thing first started.
You went to Penn State. We were just doing some NFL comps, and so I got to get your take on Tyler Warren. I said one comp was Rob Gronkowski, obviously the Hall of Fame tight end.
Yeah.
And then whenever he is 5 years out. And then also Dallas Clark. Your thoughts, Alex? And by the way, Mia, I think Alex's NFL comp is James Gladstone.
Ooh, okay.
You like that one?
I think he's
That's the GM of the Jaguars.
I think he's a little bit taller, but
yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
young guy.
Yeah, he's young. Both of your voices are somewhat similar, and you're both young, obviously, in your roles. And so, yeah. But either way, back to Tyler Warren.
I thought James Gladstone, the football player, not the.
Well, he did play football at D2.
Okay,
yeah.
got it. Well, I'll take that as a compliment. Yeah, Tyler Warren, he's such a unique talent and carried the load offensively for Penn State, at least in the receiving space for 2 years, definitely last year. I like both those comps. I'm not sure he's quite as big as Gronk, so I think Dallas Clark's a good one. I think Dallas Clark's a good one. He just feels different as far as what he's able to do. So, and both those guys were different type of talent. So I think those are good. I think those are good comparisons.
Another topic we've discussed this week on the show, and since you are among the athletic directors on the various committees, whether that's the D1 Council or others, the transfer portal in college basketball opening during the round, or right immediately following the round of 32. So for the men, it opened this past Monday, the women on Tuesday.
Yeah.
That has actually been bumped a week up compared to a year ago, where it opens the Monday prior to the tournament beginning. Any insight on developments as far as if that will change in the coming years?
Well, I think the change this year was, I think it shrunk. I think it was 45 days, and now it's 30.
Correct.
And you know, I think the numbers show that 80% of the kids go in the first week or 10 days, as is. So I think the 30-day number's right. The hard part is, and everybody, you know, it's very easy to say, well, why is it happening during the tournament? Well, and it should be a different time of year. And, well, when? Because if you have it any later, that runs into summer school. And you know all these kids are going to their next school and participating in summer school. Coaches can have, it's the best time of the year for coaches to get to know student athletes, for the student athletes to get to know each other, to understand the place, to understand the system, without all the other distractions of the academic year. And so the reason why it is when it is the draft and all that, but also the summer school component about needing to get to your next place, which is not talked about. I think you know, the same thing with the football transfer portal happening still while the playoffs are going on. It'd be one thing that if we could change it if the kids weren't in school, but they go to school. Right. So that's a big part of it that I think people maybe forget to remember. So I agree it's not ideal, but I'm not sure there is an ideal time frame for it. I think the portal in general, it is out of control. And I've been somebody who's been not opposed to the portal concept, but I think what's worse than all the money, I think that's a byproduct of all of this, is the unlimited amount of times you can leave and there's no penalty for leaving. That creates free agency every year. If there was some restriction on you can transfer once or you can transfer again if you're a graduate student, you wouldn't have the same market chaos because kids wouldn't be going to the highest bidder every year because there'd be restriction against it. I also think it teaches the wrong lessons. Like, what are you accomplishing going to 4 or 5 schools in 4 or 5 years as far as teamwork, as far as adversity, fighting through, as far as being able to connect with people for a period of time? That's not what life is. And so I worry about it from that perspective as well. But it is what it is, and it's going to be hard to put that back in the bag. And so JU, UNF, ASUN schools, we got to adjust like the rest of the country.
And adjusting is something that I would say y'all do really well because it's a constant influx and you know, people are right now, for instance, UNF men's basketball, we've talked about it on the show, 4 guys that have entered the transfer portal. But Coach Driscoll will work hard to get new guys and guys that fit his scheme. And certainly Jordan Mincy understands what it's like to have to recruit his own roster, his own players year in and year out because other teams are trying to get them. And so, but you guys every single year put a great product on the floor. So you're adjusting and you're adapting. Yeah, and I think, you know, Jordan and his staff, maybe as good as any mid-major staff in the country, have been able to retain the kids that we want to retain, and relationships really matter. Mm-hmm. And people lose sight of that. Like, I think obviously the money matters, and if you know, if you're getting a big number, it's hard to turn down. But the relationships still do matter. Nobody in the country thought we'd be able to keep Rob McCray for this year. Absolutely. Yep. And you know, Rob is a guy who's got another year and is going to weigh his options but I know a lot of his heart is still at JU. But you know, when the market is what the market is, right, it's hard to hang on to a guy like that for 2, 3, 4 years. But you know, we've been able to bring in some freshmen that were high-impact guys that want to be here, local guys that want to be here. So we are going to have a good mix next year of freshmen, transfers, and returning guys. And if you can hang on to a core group of guys each year, it's not as difficult, right, but that's hard to do. Well, next time you join us, we'll fix college athletics.
Yeah,
How's that?
boy. If you got the answer, you let me know.
Well, Taylor Doll's on vacation today, but she joked that she felt like we were becoming the Portal show. We needed to name a czar of the Portal. So if you would like to throw your name into the hopper, we will gladly accept nominations for czar of the Portal, so we can finally put the toothpaste back in the tube.
Yeah, I think it's hard. It's something that you want to provide our student athletes the opportunity to do what they want to do, but you have to have some guardrails on it. At every other level, every other sport, every other industry, there are guardrails around it. And right now we don't have any. And hopefully with the House settlement and some of it coming back inside the department, we can create some more reason and rationale around all this. But it's going to take people a lot smarter than I to do that. And we're all going to need to work on it collectively because we've done it to ourselves, if we're being honest. And I think we're going to have to fix it together as well.
As long as sports are making money, though, the problem is more for people like you than it is for those other people out there that should fix it.
And to your point, it's never been more popular.
Right. Correct.
It's never been more interesting to talk about college athletics because of the chaos.
It is chaos for sure. All right, Alex, enjoy the weekend of sports.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. Thank you for being here, and we hope to see you out at the match here in a little bit.
All right,
Thanks.
sounds good. We will be back with more on the other side. It's 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Wonder what Rick Ballou would be doing if he wasn't on 1010XL?
A hard-headed PI who'd rather break down a door than knock.
Rick Ballou.
Does he wear a hat and a trench coat, carry a 45, and drive a blue 66 Mustang?
Evenings on 1010XL.
Yes, that's it.
Jags fans, here's your chance to score a trip to Green Bay for round 1 of draft night. Through the Everbank Draft Night Experience Sweepstakes, one lucky winner and a guest will be there live and in person to see the Jaguars make their first pick. To enter, visit everbank.com/draft by April 4th. That's everbank.com/draft. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents of the United States and D.C. 18 and older. Entry period from 3/3/25 to 4/4/25. For official rules, prize description, odds of winning, and other details, visit everbank.com/draft. Sponsored and administrator, Everbank N.A.
Value or flavor? Price or taste? Why choose when you can get both? With everyday deals at Sonny's. Right now, you can get the pork big deal for $10, the pork and rib combo for $12, and all you can eat ribs for just $19.99. Yep, you heard right. All your favorites are now available all day, every day. And that's why it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue. Local pitmasters since '68.
Greenlaw Group is for the insured. If you think you have roof damage, call 904-302-7055 today, and they will schedule you a free roof inspection. Trust their law firm to help you fight your insurance when you need it. These storms can cause damage you may not even see yet. Call Greenlaw Group 302-7055. There's no cost to retain their law firm and no cost to have your roof inspected. They only get paid if you win. Greenlaw Group, for the insured.
At Performance Painting, we've spent decades protecting commercial properties with durable, long-lasting coatings. And we can bring the same expertise when painting the exterior of your home. With industry-leading materials and a proven process, we extend the life of your home, reducing maintenance costs and preserving its value. Now, for a limited time, save $500 when you hire us to paint your home's exterior. Just mention 1010XL. Go to performancepainting.com to schedule a friendly estimate. Performance Painting. Repair, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting! Is your backyard ready for the big leagues? Pick it here for Surfside Pools. Serving Northeast Florida since 1977, they have the home field advantage. Family owned and operated, offering weekly pool service, equipment repairs, commercial maintenance, remodels, and new pool construction. Let Surfside Pools make your backyard dreams a reality. Are you ready to float happy? Visit SurfsidePools.net or call 904-246-2666. Surfside Pools and Spas, your hometown MVP.
License number CPC 044080.
Hey, poker fans, the stakes are high this month as Best Bet dishes out over $550,000 between Jacksonville, Orange Park, and the St. Augustine poker rooms. Feeling lucky? How about $300 every 15 minutes at the table games, or cash in on the $20,000 race to a race, or every Friday, $1,000 every 30 minutes. And go for the green on St. Patrick's Day, where a Royal Flushing Clubs wins up to $5,000. See all the details at bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
The First Tee Tour Card is back for 2025 and better than ever, with access to over 15 of North Florida's best courses and new this year, local participating businesses. This card is your ticket to saving hundreds. First Tee North Florida is a local nonprofit who build character in youth participants through the game of golf. This annual fundraiser enables this amazing organization the ability to build game changers. Grab your tour card for just $99 at tourcard.org for a list of participating partners, benefits, and restrictions.
Florida heat is no joke. Is your air conditioner ready for it? At Duck Duck Air Conditioning, we've got a crazy offer just for you. We're giving away free AC inspections to our wonderful customers who now call and schedule. One of our expert techs will come look at your AC unit and make recommendations to ensure it's running at peak performance. But you must act today. A deal this good won't last forever. Call 904-862-6769. Duck Duck Air Conditioning. DuckDuckAC.com. Any required repairs are not included in the inspection.
Learn more about the beautiful game of soccer and its impact on the River City.
What a beautiful thing to behold.
Get an hour of soccer talk on the Sporting Jack Soccer Hour.
That's all I want to know.
Tuesday at 6 p.m. on 1010 a.m.
Warm weather means the beach, fishing, golf, and more. Make sure to drop into Daly's and grab a cold case to go. From Bud Light to their seltzer, from Mick Ultra to Modelo, or your favorite crafts like Old City or Sweetwater. Grab and go at your local Daly's.
What Major League Baseball team has never been to a World Series? The answer next.
Southern Oak Insurance is proud to continue offering coverage statewide. Financial stability makes Southern Oak Insurance a wise choice for your homeowner's insurance needs. Log on to southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The Seattle Mariners, who were founded in 1977, have never been to the World Series.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
St. Johns County parents, does your kid have energy to burn? Want them to play a sport for their middle school? Sign up today for the St. John's Middle School Athletic Association. Spring pickleball, tackle football, dance, and cheerleading. Who doesn't want their kid to be the next NFL quarterback or dance floor diva? Hurry, time is running out. March is almost over. You know how fast your kid can go from playing Xbox to practicing their touchdown dance or sideline cheer? Sign up at sjmsaa.org. sjmsaa.org.
You've got a lot on your plate. The last thing you need is car trouble. At Maxie's Mechanics, we help you keep your cars, trucks, and SUVs running safely. Visit MaxieAutoRepair.com today for honest service, reliable repairs, and peace of mind for you and your family.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Timeouts. 2 seconds left. Giddy for the win. Go! My God! I cannot believe this. Elizabeth, I'm coming, baby. Oh, no. Improbable. Unbelievable. Impossible. Magic Giddy. Good day, mate. Somewhere in Australia, Sydney, or Melbourne, Paul Hogan is somewhere in Crocodile Dundee.
I just loved that last night. I'm so sorry, RJ, because the Bulls did beat the Lakers with that insane half-court shot. But we had to play the highlight because in honor of Taylor Dahl on vacation.
Well, it wasn't even just the insane half-court buzzer beater, Lauren. It was the final 12.6 seconds. RJ, I apologize. If you would like to add to this play-by-play, feel free. The Bulls were down 5 with 12.6 seconds remaining. Hit a 3, steal the inbound, hit another 3.
Yeah, the steal was massive.
Then we fast forward. The Lakers have the answer on the other end with LeBron. They go up 117 to 116. And then Josh Giddey, who Taylor Dahl was literally just singing the praises of 2 days ago, hits the half-court buzzer beater. That's one of the better buzzer beater calls I think I've heard in basketball this year.
I watched it like 4 times.
Amazing play-by-play. Amazing call. The fact that then the TV cuts to the one Lakers fan
I know, that
at
was,
the United Center who was just like, this
I
is
was like,
the
that
worst.
poor RJ in watching.
Were you that Lakers fan, RJ? Were you watching this live last night?
I watched the last half of it live. I saw that the Lakers were up 16 with about 3 minutes left. And
Shades of Arkansas right there.
No, I was like, if this is any indication of what they did in Indiana, then yeah, we're probably going to lose this in the worst way. So yeah, that happened. You lost in the worst way. And to think that the Lakers, I believe, in their last 5 games, you're a lucky tip-in Indiana from going 0-5 in your last 5 games. So, I mean, you eke out of here being 1-4 in your last 5. Yeah, that angered me for no reason.
It's the shot heard around the world, but it's far from the only NBA news. A little bit of breaking news, if you may, RJ.
Now, breaking news.
The Memphis Grizzlies announced about an hour ago that they have parted ways with their head coach, Taylor Jenkins. Lauren Dahl. No, Lauren Brooks. The Grizzlies are tied for the 4th best record in the Western Conference, and they fired their coach with 9 games left in the regular season. They're going to the playoffs. Field Yates is tweeting about it, too, from the NFL side, and Adam Schefter's retweeting it, and it's because that is like, I don't care what sport you're playing. You're going to the postseason, and you're firing your coach. And
maybe there's more to the story.
And here's the statement from the GM of basketball operations and president, Zach Kleiman. This was a difficult decision given the consistent and tangible development of our players and overall success. I wish him the very best going forward. Unless there's more to the story behind the scenes,
yeah,
because
there has to be.
That's
not normal business by any means. Speaking of breaking news, Colorado and Deion Sanders agreed to terms on a new contract extension, I should say. The contract is through the 2029 season. So for all that speculation of Deion leaving for the NFL, I think this puts it to bed, at least for now. It's a 5-year deal worth $54 million. That will make him one of the, God bless you, highest paid coaches in the country. Base salary for this season, $10 million for next season, then 11, and 12. And of course, if Colorado continues to play well, he'll just get another extension on top of that. But look, congrats to Deion. He did something that I did not think he could do, and that is reimagine how Colorado football and put it back on the map like it once was 30 years ago.
And if only today, March 28th.
And he's done it his way. And I've criticized him all along the way, but he's done it his way.
John O'Leary's birthday, by the way. Round of applause, RJ, for our engineer extraordinaire. If only on March 28th, Deion Sanders remaining steadfast in his commitment to college football and to that program in Boulder, Colorado. Our thanks again to JU Athletic Director Alex Ricker-Gilbert for joining us. But as 329 on the text line chimed in while Alex was joining us, Lauren, tell Alex that coaches need to be held accountable for doing the same thing, not just the students, with regards to the transfer portal. And that is where I look at Deion, the purveyor of the transfer portal. And at the very least, he is selling the kids on something that he believes he will be at long term.
Yeah, I have some other breaking news, and that is in the world of college baseball. So last night, due to weather in Oxford, Mississippi, they announced that Florida would play a doubleheader today. Florida did lose that game 7-5 last night to Ole Miss. And so today will be the doubleheader starting at 4. Liam Peterson, who has been injured, will start the first game of the doubleheader.
Good. Florida on the comeback.
That is really good news. Yeah, Florida now, if you're keeping track, 0-7 in the SEC. That is obviously a terrible start for the Gators.
John Calipari. 0-5, baby.
But yeah, there's
never say never.
Tons of season left. They've only played, obviously, the 2 series. This is the beginning of the 3rd one, even though it did start with a loss. But Florida can end up winning both of the games today. Even just one game, it feels like maybe they can start to turn it around, especially if some of these pitchers can return from injury. So that is good news as well. And so, yeah, lots of stuff happening in the sports world. All right, on the other side, I'll give you our Terminex Pests of the Day and update you on some other local baseball as well. You are listening to Helmets and Heels live at Jackson University on 1010X 92.5 FM.
I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell,
1010XL.
David Garrard here. I've had the PRP treatment from Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and my knees are really doing well. Platelet-rich plasma treatment may be the answer for whatever is hurting you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
My son had a meniscus surgery a couple years ago. When it's smooth as silk, Dr. Kevin Murphy did it. Was playing tennis in 2 weeks. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
It's that time again. The Ready, Set, Go sales event is back and going on now at Arlington Toyota. Mia here. Now's the time to make the most of Ready, Set, Go savings because the Arlington Toyota lot is jam-packed with inventory. That's over 800 vehicles to choose from. What kind of savings are there? I'm glad you asked. Just announced, 0% on select new Toyota models has been extended. 0%, and that means now's the time to save on the new Toyota you really want. And come on, admit it. You know you'd look good in a new truck. So get ready, set, and go get yours today with financing as low as 1.99% on select new trucks. Arlington has over 80 Tacomas and over 75 Tundras available. Plus, you get Arlington's lifetime warranty and 60-day exchange with your new Toyota purchase. Don't wait. Let's go and shop the Ready, Set, Go sales event at Arlington Toyota now through March 31st. In person on Atlantic Boulevard, just a quarter mile east of 295 or at arlingtontoyota.com.
Top Dog Tavern is your gathering place for family and friends, offering something for everyone. Want a delicious meal served with a smile? We have you covered. Shareable appetizers, hot and crispy wings, juicy tavern burgers, fresh salads, plus a large craft beer selection. And there is nowhere better to watch all the big games than on our multiple TVs. Enjoy great food, cold drinks, and good times at Top Dog Tavern, located in Bartram Park off Old St. Augustine Road.
Mia here, and let me tell you about one of our area's best resorts, the Sawgrass Marriott Golf Resort and Spa. The Sawgrass Marriott is not only a great destination for a vacation, but it is also a great destination for dining on the Florida's first coast. 1912 Ocean Bar and Rooftop is now open on Ponte Vedra Boulevard, featuring Ponte Vedra's only oceanfront rooftop bar and lounge. Serving finely crafted cocktails and delectable eats, it's open daily from 4 to 10 with complimentary valet parking.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code WEALTH to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code WEALTH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code WEALTH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
ET here, and if you've ever been injured in an accident, visit my buddy Dr. McGowan at McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center. You have 14 days to see a doctor and protect your insurance benefits, even if you're at fault. And no matter what you hear, you have the right to choose your own doctor. So I recommend McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation. Their auto experts will guide you in every step of the way to ensure the care that you need. Your recovery starts with McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation.
Get to know positions and players. The 1010XL Ultimate Draft Guide is brought to you by Blue Haven Pools, the #1 pool builder in Jacksonville. Follow rankings and roundtables as the draft takes shape. Go to 1010XL.com/2025 draft guide to get yours.
It's March Madness, and your office needs a champion. Advanced Business Solutions teams up with Xerox to bring you copiers that never miss a shot. Fast, reliable, and ready to handle the pressure. Make the winning play for your business. Hire the champions at Advanced Business Solutions, where your business goes for the win. Locally and veteran-owned.
Print documents and IT management. Advanced Business Solutions.
Tired of seeing the signs of aging? Spring is here, a time to renew. I'm Dr. Mark Capel, a board-certified dermatologist, here to help you look and feel your best with minimal to no downtime. Rejuvenate your skin, strengthen your core, and sculpt your body with advanced face and body treatments designed to restore your youthful glow and confidence. Just in time for spring and summer. A healthier, more fit you starts now. Visit dermagnify.com and step into spring looking and feeling your best.
The housing market is as busy as ever on the First Coast. And if you've moved in or moved on, make sure you have a team of trained electricians ready to help. American Electrical can make sure you're up to date electrically and maximize your living experience. Smart home automation services, home theater systems, outdoor and dock lighting, and backup generators. American Electrical can do it all. A team you can trust with highly trained technicians ensuring you have the best living experience. American-Electrical.com, a leader on the First Coast and powered by professionalism.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
I think that's the scouting report on Stowers, and that he likes to swing at the fastballs up in the zone.
There's a swing and a line drive into the corner. Fair ball! A walk-off winner on opening day!
Look at him come out of the dugout!
It's the first walk-off in Marlins history on opening day, and it comes courtesy of...
I am so sorry, Frank Frangie, if you are listening. We like to be known as a show that's going to play every buzzer beater. Well, I also want to play a bunch of walk-offs this season. Obviously, Walk-Off Charities was started by Frank, and you just heard, unfortunately for him, the Marlins walked off the Pirates in opening day yesterday.
The Jumbo Shrimp are an affiliate of the Miami Marlins. I'm fine. We're paying homage to our local town and their big brothers down there in South FLA. I'm totally here for it.
It was not a day where I spent a ton of time watching baseball because I was much more locked into the Sweet 16. The Rays do play today, their first game, and so I'll certainly be watching some baseball. But I will switch fully over to baseball mode, and I'm obviously already in college baseball mode, but switch fully to Major League Baseball mode as soon as the men's basketball tournament wraps up, unless Florida gets out early, and then I'll switch immediately.
Yeah, speaking of basketball, the women's basketball Sweet 16 is tonight. Of important note, even if you're not locked in on the women's tournament, Paige Beckers, that's probably a name you've heard before.
For sure.
She did confirm to Rebecca Lobo of ESPN that she is entering the 2025 WNBA draft. She is expected to go number 1 overall to the Dallas Wings. Of course, some had suggested she would not declare because she technically does have a COVID year of eligibility still available. Some folks thought maybe she's not going to declare. She'll play in Unrivaled, then declare for the W in 2026 because she doesn't want to play for the Wings. Either way, it sounds like she's going to go the traditional route, and obviously that is a massive get for the W. Massive news for women's basketball, which, of course, lost one of its biggest stars to ACL tear a couple days ago in Juju Watkins. As the reason I said that awkwardly is because Frank Frangie did just text us.
I'm so sorry.
He's listening somewhere, and he is very sad about the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah, and look, Paul Skeens, their ace, second-year player with the Pirates, he pitched really well. It wasn't Skeens' fault. It was the bullpen that let them down, and on opening day to have your bullpen let you down is so frustrating because that's a massive sign of what's to come. And, of course, it's against the Marlins. And I was listening to the Frangie show yesterday when the Pirates were up, I think it was 4-1, and Frank was sending a runner home, and he was all excited. And I love that opening day energy. He brings that every day. But, yeah, I'm just sorry we had to really hurt RJ with the Bulls-Lakers buzzer beater, and we just had to hurt Frank's feelings as well. I'm so sorry, but hopefully maybe the bullpen gets better for them.
Maybe, possibly. It's Pirates. I think they're going to improve. I mean, it's Paul Skeens' second year. Like, that's how I feel. It's natural growth.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I wanted to get through a couple more of these NFL comps of quarterbacks.
Terminix Pest of the Day, right?
But yeah, it's time for the Terminix Pest of the Day, brought to you by Terminix. TERMINIX.com is where you can find them. They came out to our house this morning and took care of everything on the outside pest-wise. They will also make sure that you don't have termites in your home. Termites are really, really destructive pests that have been around for millions of years. They take care of Everbank Stadium, ViStar Ballpark, ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, all your favorite event venues around town. There's a reason for that. They do such a good job. I'm over this whole LeBron James, Stephen A. Smith thing. They're the pest of the day because I'm sick and tired of people bringing it up. I'm sick and tired of people walking around saying which side they're going to take. They're never going to fight. If you missed it, Stephen A. said that if LeBron had put his hand on him, he would have swung. Nobody cares about this little tit-for-tat thing y'all have going on. I don't even like Pat McAfee that LeBron James went on his show. I didn't want to even have to talk about that. And so I'm over the whole thing. They're not going to fight, everybody. Relax.
Kudos to Pat for getting the interview. But,
sure.
I mean, look.
Unless LeBron asked to go on, and then Pat just said,
no,
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, from what I saw Dan Orlovsky saying, like, this was like the big fish for Pat McAfee. He wanted to get LeBron. They taped it in studio. I appreciate that. Like from an interview host reporter side, like the fact that he got that interview and that's been a goal of his, good for him. But the fact that this has now been hijacked and turned into a media stunt, in my estimation, for lack of a better term,
for sure.
I don't buy any of this. Well, he's questioning my journalistic integrity, and I just, from either side, not from LeBron so much, because LeBron's just trying to respond to something that I believe is a media stunt.
And Stephen A. drives me crazy already, but either way. Local baseball, Ole Miss, like I said, beat Florida 7-5 last night. Doubleheader does begin at 4 p.m. UNF plays host to Florida Gulf Coast. That one starts at 6:30 tonight, so get out to UNF. JU plays host to Queens. That one begins tonight at 7 p.m. is the first pitch. Get out here. We are right here at Jackson University. I can confirm all games at John Sessions Stadium are fantastic because of the beautiful breeze right here along the St. Johns River. And then FSU at Notre Dame. That one, of course, is a little spicy. That one begins today at 4:30. Spicy because Link Jarrett going back to Notre Dame where he coached previously. This is Florida State's first game outside of the state of Florida in the 2025 season. That really shouldn't be surprising, though, because of the fact that a lot of those northern teams want to come to Florida to start the seasons. All right, Mia, back to the NFL comps before we say hello to XL Primetime. ESPN's Matt Miller says Cam Ward's NFL comp is Jordan.
No, we're not going to do Caleb Johnson. No, we can do Cam Ward. It's okay.
Is Jordan Love. PFF's Trevor Sikkema says Cam Ward's NFL comp is Ben Roethlisberger.
Oh, God, no. I'm going with Matt Miller's. Yes. And
I do think the Jordan Love one is a really good comp. I think, though, Jordan Love's a little more athletic.
Yes,
than Cam Ward.
but I would argue that Cam Ward is more athletic than Ben Roethlisberger. Like, I don't think he's a statue in the pocket. Like, look, I understand the idea of
the Jaguars once made Ben Roethlisberger want to retire because they sacked him so many times.
Right. Like, I do understand
picked him off.
the notion, which shout out to Trevor and Alyssa Lang. I believe the long-awaited wedding, at least I've seen it on the internet, so I don't feel bad saying it. It's today or tomorrow or one of these days this weekend.
Very exciting.
So round of applause to them. But yeah, no, I understand the notion of a bigger body, thicker quarterback who can launch the ball at different arm levels. But that's much more in the camp of Brett Favre than it is Ben Roethlisberger, especially because Cam Ward's a little bit undersized. He's 6'2", so yeah, not really sure where that one came from. But Jordan Love's a pretty good comp, and yeah, I agree. I think Jordan Love's a little bit more athletic than Cam, but I think Cam is definitively more athletic than Ben Roethlisberger.
And I do think that Cam Ward will be the quarterback of the Titans. They were holding a private workout for him today, and everybody in attendance certainly. All right, one more comp for you as far as quarterbacks are concerned. Tyler Brook of the 33rd team. His comp for Shedeur Sanders is Jared Goff.
Oh, wow. Okay. I thought he was going to say Geno because I think Geno's the comp. Like, that's my comp.
Yeah.
My comp is Geno Smith, who ultimately did fall to the second round, and I could see a similar scenario happening to Shedeur Sanders, although I think a team is going to get quarterback needy and maybe trade back into the end of the first to get him. Look, we live in a day and age, and that's why I understand the Jared Goff comp. We live in a day and age where we no longer disrespect the game manager. We recognize that even the most elite quarterbacks need to have other things in their ecosystem that go outside of sheer quarterback play. The idea of Brock Purdy, the idea of even Jordan Love to that extent, not that I would label him a game manager, but he's a great example of a guy who his talents are amplified because of the play around him, because he has an elite defense. Jalen Hurts. Again, these are quarterbacks who you put in the top 10, but would they be top 10 quarterbacks, top 15, top 20 quarterbacks if we're talking Jordan Love, Jalen Hurts? Would you consider them in that category if they didn't have all those other pieces around them?
You know who I think will never be considered a game manager?
Who?
Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I know.
Even though, like you said, it's not a negative thing to say about somebody, it can be really a positive thing. I just don't think that – I think he is a gunslinger, and he's always going to be a gunslinger, and he may not always make the best decisions, especially situational football-wise, but he's going to go out there and he's going to air it out, and he's going to, thankfully with Brian Thomas Jr., find that deep ball off early and often. That's who he is. I just don't think he's going to be let me just take what the defense is giving me, 5 yards here, 5 yards here, dink and dunk. I just don't ever see that becoming Trevor Lawrence's game. Maybe at the very end of his career,
and
but
again,
not now.
I think a lot of it, unfortunately, derives from everyone expecting him to be this quarterback who would succeed regardless of the system he was placed into. And
or the lack of weapons surrounding him, the poor offensive line to start his career.
Ultimately, when you look back at the Clemson teams that he was a part of, that was a generational defense. The year they beat Alabama for the 2019 national title game, he had Travis Etienne, the ACC's all-time leading rusher. Yes, I know he has Travis Etienne here as well. However, there's a big difference between the holes you see at the Atlantic, I was going to say the All-Coast Conference level, and what you see in the National Football League. I think that there's a difference between the wide receivers, at least early on in Trevor Lawrence's career, if only year one, and certainly some other moments when Christian Kirk, Zay Jones have gone down with injury, the weapons he had at his disposal here versus what he had at Clemson. Once upon a time, Justin Ross was going to be a top 5 pick before the back injury, or neck injury, whatever it was. And so, unfortunately, because of the preconceived notion since Trevor Lawrence was 16 that he would be the next guy, I think the expectation has always been from the casual fan, he has to do it all himself, and that is not fair in a modern football world in which the edge rushers are cyborgs and you have offensive and defensive linemen weighing over 300 pounds and running a sub-5-0 40-yard dash.
Absolutely. But now it's on Liam Cohen and Grant Udinski and that staff to figure out, obviously, Trevor Lawrence's strengths and to build the playbook around his strengths. And I'm not saying that the other staff, the two staffs really, that have been here working with Trevor have not tried to do that. But they have to somehow, some way figure out this math equation that leads to Trevor week in and week out throwing somewhere in the ballpark of around 300 yards with a high completion percentage and with multiple touchdown passes each game. That for me is the expectation in this new offense for Trevor.
Yeah, because if they don't, I mean,
and I know they want to run the ball, but he needs I think to be around the 300-yard mark.
I think he can do that if he's got a capable run game, and I'm not trying to be Urban Meyer with 250 out here, but I do
250 yards on the ground, 250 yards to the air.
Honestly,
there's not time for that in an NFL game.
Urban was hired ahead of his time, folks. He was hired the same time as Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell's 250 in. Granted, that was with Ben Johnson out here. Maybe Urban was right all along.
Yeah, I'm never going to use those words unless you're talking about college football. Okay, and then yes, Urban certainly was successful, but that to me obviously is the massive question: is can Liam Cohen's offense with Grant Udinski as the offensive coordinator, can they figure out what's best for Trevor and put him in that position to succeed? Or in 2 years, are we talking about what are we going to do with the quarterback position when he's already signed this long-term deal?
Yeah.
That was a previous general manager that signed him to it.
There are national analysts saying that already.
Of course
I will reserve judgment until I see it.
Yeah, people love to pick on. I don't know why yet. People love to pick on Trevor.
Because they all touted and banged their chest and said he's going to be better than Mahomes. He's going to be better than this, that,
he's
and the
generational.
other. Right.
But the injuries and everything, like, I just hope people have been paying attention. But
also the ecosystem. Favorite word.
Yeah,
ecosystem.
There you go. All right, since you mentioned Urban Meyer, let's check in with Matt Hayes.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. CoolCatsJacks.com.
The coolest cats in town.
Okay, Matt, when I say Urban was right, you say...
Why do you guys always lop me in with Urban Meyer? That's what I say. You say
Good
Urban
answer.
Meyer was right? I would say, wow. I don't know. Actually, I don't know.
He was right about the Miller Electric Center. We will leave it at that. And we're not lumping you in with Urban, just saying you're the czar of college football at 1010XL. And Urban, at one point in time, was pretty much the czar of college football, whether it was winning national championships at Florida or Ohio State.
We're trying to find a czar of the portal, Matt. We've already nominated JU Athletic Director Alex Rickard-Gilbert. Do you have any other nominations?
A czar of the portal or of college football?
Of the portal.
Oh, gosh. I mean, it could be anybody.
Could be Nick Saban.
Yeah, why not Nick? Let's go with Nick.
I like that. All right, Matt, you are not like me. You are not a bleed orange and blue type of Gator grad. So last night's game, Sunday's game, the Friday night before that, how do you watch the Florida basketball team? Like, do you get nervous at all, or are you just relaxed?
No. In fact, I don't even watch the whole game. I didn't watch the whole game yesterday. I was kind of in and out doing different things. I will say this, though. When they were struggling with turnovers, it immediately changed when Aberdeen went in there. So, I mean, I think they need to play Clayton and Aberdeen on the court at the same time. Maybe, take Elijah Martin, make him your sixth man coming off, because you need two guys that can distribute and handle the ball clearly, especially now you're at the Elite Eight. Especially when you're looking at teams that can play defense like Texas Tech, clearly like at Duke, like Houston. Yeah, they need ball handlers right now, and I think that's why they're struggling in the last 2 games.
All right, what's coming up on primetime?
We are going to talk NFL and college football and Leon's sweet pigskin 16 with our coach, Dave Campo.
Love it.
Matt, by the way, Leon's Sweet 16 had me tweet out the other day a poll of the best college football play-by-play announcer of all time, and Keith Jackson won. You'll be happy to know.
Wow. Who finished second?
Vern Lundquist.
Wow. All right.
Brent Musburger came in third.
All right. I like that list. Good list.
All right. Well, thank you so much. All right, Matt, thanks. We will be listening.
All right, ladies.
All right, that'll do it for us live here at Jacksonville University. Thanks again to Alex Ricker-Gilbert, the athletic director here, for stopping by. For the vacationing Taylor Dahl, for Mia O'Brien, for RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. These Heels are made for talking. We will talk to you on Monday, but don't go anywhere. XL Primetime is next.
Yeah. You